So I'm a data journalist, as you said, which effectively means using public or leaked data to tell stories. This has become increasingly important for Global Witness, in part because of recent campaign successes where we've pushed, for instance, for beneficial ownership information on the true owners of companies to be made available. We need the tools and we need the skills to be able to find meaning in that data, to be able to tell stories and to be able to identify corruption and malfeasance. We've known for some time that London property is being used as sort of the piggy bank for the corrupt. We had a famous investigation, I think 2 years ago, looking at how the former Kazakh chief of secret police, who was wanted for both murder and money laundering, was associated with a set of companies that owned, anonymous companies that owned property on Baker Street. Now that was just one anecdote. What we were able to do at the end of last year, using the complete data set of all property owned by foreign companies in the UK, was to identify how many companies or properties were similarly owned. So this was about 86,000. So this was showing the extent of a problem. It was moving beyond anecdote. And then what we were able to do was to be able to localize this problem. So we were able to say to particular individuals or our supporters to say, why don't you tweet your local MP and say how many properties, anonymously owned properties, exist within my borough or my administrative area, to put pressure on Parliament to say all these properties, we don't know who owns them and they pose a corruption risk. Well, I hope they feel deeply uncomfortable about what we've done, and I know that a number of investigations have had serious personal consequences for people that we've investigated, whether or not that's seizure of assets, sanctions, or in some case imprisonment. But I think that we're still finding that social media is a surprisingly useful source for investigating the activities of kleptocrats or their associated networks or of corrupt companies. I mean, it remains a useful source for us in our investigations. One of the most important pieces of legislation that Global Witness and others have been campaigning for some time is going to force all extractive companies incorporated in the European Union to disclose payments that they make to government. So this is one of the areas which we've seen as a great risk of bribery. In July, we'll be publishing, at the end of this month, we'll be publishing a handbook called Finding the Missing Millions, which will help civil society organisations and local communities try and identify where revenues are going, or if revenues have not been correctly paid according for extractives contracts. It will set out 10 different tests that anyone can do who has access to a PC and a copy of OpenOffice or Excel. So I'd really encourage people to read that and to understand how to use that data in order to hold companies to account.